Thank you. I'd like to call to order the Town Council regular session. Time is 7:32, and the date is Monday, April 9th. And before we start the meeting, if we have a sign in the hallway of the town chambers, if we can all put silence our phones and remember that we have adopted and discussed a rule here that will be no texting in the town chambers. I also want to quickly just announce that the budget hearing that was scheduled for tomorrow has been rescheduled to April 12th. We have a Coastal Resources Management Council public hearing tomorrow night starting at 6, the URI Bay campus, in reference to the Matunic beach erosion. So the budget hearing tomorrow, again, is going to be Thursday night here in the town chambers. With that said, could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we please have the roll call, Dale?
Council President Whaley.
Present.
Council Vice President McAtee.
Here.
Councilwoman Eddy.
Here.
Councilwoman Fogarty.
Here.
Councilman O'Neill.
Here.
All members present.
Thank you, Dale. We have the approval of the minutes of previous meetings. We have the work session from March 14th, March 15th, and March 26th.
I move approval of those minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss the work session minutes of March 15th, if that could be removed. I don't know if that takes a second, Michael, or,
Let's do, you want to do it now? Let's do it now.
Which one?
March 15th.
yeah, it's in the packet, I-4A of April 5th. That was the infamous meeting, work session. What I'm concerned about here is I'd like the minutes to add a number of items in there. One, I stated that when we were speaking about documentation, I had said that over the years, both our outside agencies and charitable agencies, those monies always went into operating budgets and to general funds, and that we have never asked any of them to provide detailed documentation, such as recommended the Chamber of Commerce that evening. Secondly, I'd like in the record here that I stated on the record that Mr. Alfred does the business regarding that letter from the Chamber, that Mr. Alfred does business by the book. He always has. I've been a senior member here by 12 years, and I want that, which I stated in the record. I also believe that the second time that the Democratic Town Committee Chairman was at the microphone, I see only the comments from the first time he was at the microphone. I'd like to have his entire testimony and Mr. Alfred's response put into those records, so the minutes of March 15th, 2012. If you want me to go into detail, I'd really be happy to, but since we've got this new decorum, I'll keep it at that level.
I don't think we need the level of detail. Thank you, Jim. So I'm going to I'm looking at you, Mike.
Do you want to first vote
Adopt the-
on the consent agenda, all the other items other than this, so we take this one at a time?
So
A motion to approve the consent agenda except for the minutes of March 19th.
But we're on the work.
We're on the work session.
We're on the work sessions.
I'm sorry, the work session.
I can have them, we have a motion, we can do a motion for the 14th and the 26th, and then we can take the amendments for the 15th.
Sure.
Okay. So can I have another motion for the 14th and the 5th and the
I'm-
26th?
I move approval of the work session minutes from March 14th and March 26th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We now have the work session of the 14th and the 26th. Okay, Jim has recommended some additions to the March 15th. I think that all of the additions that you have put forward really deal with your comments, Jim, and Mr. Alfred's doing business.
It's all on
So I
the
think what you're
record.
looking for is a little more detailed in the minutes.
Correct.
Do I have a motion, or would you like to have discussion first? Does anybody have any objections to making additions to those minutes? Can I have a motion, please? Jim,
Oh.
is that a motion?
I will make the
To add
motion
that?
then for the minutes of March 15th to bring forth my recommendations that what I said earlier about Mr. Alfred going by the book, the documentation issue, and the second trip to the microphone by the Democratic chair here in South Kingstown, and Mr. Alfred's response be part of the record, written record.
I'll second it.
Motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? With none said, ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Okay.
I'm going to abstain too.
Okay, so the motion is all in favor 3, opposed 1, and 1 abstention.
May I just
Polly, please.
explain why? I don't think it changes what actually happened at what actually occurred at the meeting, and I think it merely brings up anxiety again over that whole issue. I don't think it adds to the understanding of the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay?
Any other further discussion? Okay, which now brings us to, we have approval of the minutes of the regular session, March.
Approval of the regular session, March 19th and March 26th.
Second.
Took the words right out of my mouth before I could even get them out.
Sorry.
March 19th and 26th. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Would any town council person request anything moved from the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. At this time, it brings us to licenses. This is a resolution granting a Class F1 19-hour beverage license to Courthouse Center for the Arts for a music series to be held on Thursday, April 19th, 2012, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Courthouse and Center for the Arts, 3481 Kingstown Road, West Kingston. This is application by Deborah Wepman, President, 300 Kenyon Avenue, Wakefield, Rhode Island, and this is a new application. Do we have Deborah here? Welcome, and if you could please come to the mic and tell us a little bit about this endeavor. Sounds exciting.
Yes, it is exciting. I'm the chairman of the music committee for the Courthouse Center for the Arts this year,
And if
and
you
we're
could just
sponsoring.
State your name, please.
My name is Paul Sherman.
Thank you, Paul.
So I organize the construction industry, the local construction industry in the town, including myself and 3 other builders and Arnold Lumber, to sponsor a series for the Courthouse Center for the Arts to bring music back to the center. And we're having our first concert, which are sort of all Rhode Island all-stars, on April 19th. And it's Laurie Urso in a band called Ursula George and another band called the Blue Tones, Sugar Ray and the Blue Tones. So it should be a great concert, and we'd like to be able to serve
Sounds
liquor at the
exciting.
concert.
Do we have questions here at the table?
Oh, great. It'll be a great event.
Polly?
Are you adding any others? Are you thinking of adding any other music?
There are 4 other concerts this year. This is a blues concert, there's a jazz concert in June, there's a soul concert in September and October, there's a In fact, I have it right here. There's a rock concert in October, and there's a folk concert in November. And we'll probably be asking for the same license for each one,
Carol?
Paul, how much are the tickets?
$20 to $25. Or the series is $15 off if you buy the whole series.
Oh,
Good deal.
very good.
That's great. Any further questions here at the table?
Oh, one more.
Go ahead, Karen.
And how do you buy the tickets ahead of time?
You buy the tickets by calling the center, or you go online at courthousearts.org, and you can purchase tickets online.
If you'd like to state that phone number, you have the cameras running.
Cameras on you.
That's great. The Courthouse Center for the Arts phone number is 401-782-1018.
That's great.
We'd love to see everybody there.
Sounds great.
All right, are we ready to vote? Do we have a motion, please?
I move approval of new license A.
Second.
We have motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Paul, best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
And at this time, we're on 7A, and this is the public hearing, and at this time, I will recuse myself and turn the meeting over to Carol. Thank you.
Public hearing A is a public hearing relative to an application for expansion of a license to keep and sell alcoholic beverages in South Kingstown in accordance with the general laws of 1956 as amended as follows. Class B victular liquor license. Application for expansion from a Class B limited to a Class B victular liquor license filed by Phil's Kitchen, Inc., doing business as Phil's Restaurant, 323 Main Street, Wakefield, Rhode Island, by Kenneth J. Tetzner, Vice President. Applicant also requests permission to expand the area in which alcoholic beverages may be served to include a modification to the second-floor dining area, a walkway, a proposed roof deck dining area on an adjacent building, and a proposed theater in an adjacent building in accordance with special use permits granted by the Zoning Board of Review on July 21st, 2010, April 20th, 2011, and February 21st, 2012, and is further defined in the site plans dated March 5th, 2012, on file in the town clerk's office. So welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm John Kenyon, attorney for the applicant. With me tonight is Carl and Ken Tetzner. Chris Barrett from the Contemporary Theater is also here tonight. The Tetzners are the owners of Phil's Kitchen, Inc., which operates Phil's Restaurant at 323 Main Street. The property is owned by Wakefield Riverside Associates, LLC, and Carl and Ken are the members of that entity. They've been operating there since 1998. A little over 2 years ago, we came in and applied and received a Class B liquor license limited to beer and wine. They've been operating under that license since then. They haven't had any issues with the service. Tonight, they're here requesting an expansion of that liquor license in a number of ways. The first is they're looking to lift the restriction of the beer and wine sale only to a full-service liquor license. They're also looking to change the second floor plan, which was previously approved. They're seeking an expansion to the, across the walkway onto a rooftop deck on the adjacent property, and also looking to expand into the third building on the property, which it will be leased by the Contemporary Community Theater. We did receive the approval from the zoning board dated March 1st, 2012 for the expansion. And at this time, I'm going to have Ken explain the operation briefly. Do you swear in at the public meetings? No? If you could just state your name for the record.
Kenneth Tetzner?
And are you a principal in Phil's Kitchen, Inc.?
Yes.
And are you also a member of Wakefield Riverside Associates, LLC?
Yes, I am.
And does Wakefield Riverside Associates, LLC own the property at 323 Main Street?
Yes.
And does Phil's Kitchen, Inc. operate a restaurant at that site?
Yes.
And how long have you been operating there?
Almost 15 years.
And in 2010, were you granted a Class B liquor license limited to beer and wine?
Yes, I was.
And did you come in a year later and request permission to expand into the second floor of the building?
Yes.
And have you been operating under that license since then?
Yes.
And how's business been since you received the beer and wine license?
Good. The only thing I would say is we're missing a crowd of people. I call it the martini crowd, as my father would say. But people that want to go in for a cocktail, we have people come in, they sit down, they ask for a drink, we say, sorry, we have beer and wine. They say, sorry, we want to go somewhere else.
And is that why you're here tonight, requesting the upgrade from the beer and wine only to the full liquor service?
Yes, it is.
And since you've been operating, have you had any issues with the town or police department with the sale of beer and wine?
None at all.
And is that why you originally asked for the beer and wine, to show the town that you could operate without any issues?
Yes.
And are you also seeking to amend the second floor plan, which was originally approved?
Yes.
And are you also seeking permission to expand onto a walkway and onto the rooftop of the adjoining property?
Yes.
And approximately how big is the area of the rooftop?
Approximately about almost 1,100 square feet, give or take.
And approximately how many seats are you proposing out there?
44.
And what time of year do you anticipate being open out there?
It's open to the environment, so when it's warm, when it's nice out, when people can tolerate it.
And approximately what would be your hours of operation out there?
11 to 11.
And did the zoning board include a condition that there be no liquor service after 11 p.m.?
Yes.
And are you also seeking permission to expand into the third building on the property?
Yes.
And are you in the process of entering into a lease with the Contemporary Theater Company for that space?
Yes.
And are you requesting permission to serve alcohol to the theater guests?
Yes, we are.
And will it be your employees serving the liquor?
Yes, it will.
And are they all trained, tip certified?
Yep.
And are you proposing a small concession area in the lobby where the liquor would be served?
Yes.
And did you propose a condition to the zoning board that the liquor would only be served an hour before shows and during shows?
Yes.
And how many seats are you proposing for the theater?
90.
I have no further questions. As I said earlier, Chris Barrett, representing the theater, is here if the council has any questions of him.
Any questions? Polly?
Carol? Thank you. I've eaten there. It's a wonderful place.
Thank you.
I'm curious about why you requested a liquor license for the walkway. I assume it's literally a walkway that people are going to be walking.
It's,
Well, my concern was, there will be a service bar on the rooftop deck.
Yes.
But there could be people coming in from the second floor, walking across the walkway, bringing a drink out to the outside.
Yeah, but you won't literally be serving.
We won't be serving there, but I wanted to be sure that if there was alcohol out there.
If someone was carrying it, I thought that's probably what it was.
Yes.
But, thank you, John. But I thought that, I'm all for serving liquor as long as there's food provided. And there would be food provided in the top of the new building, correct?
correct, yes.
Yeah,
Full menu.
yeah.
There'll be
So
a
it's
full
merely, you're not planning to serve in the walkway, you're just walking through with a drink. Okay,
Yes.
Right, you'll have a
thank you, Ken.
full menu on the outside area?
Yes.
And are you also proposing food service in the theater?
Yes.
Any other, Jim?
Yeah, I'm not sure the zoning rules, the fencing on that restaurant, where you'll have clear glass, or the 4-inch rule of bars, how high is the fencing? Just give me an idea of what the railing fencing will be like around that,
On the deck?
on the deck.
It's going to be, well, it has to be 42 inches high, and it's going to be a solid rail, no slats, it won't be open. And on the top, we're actually going to make a little bit of a degree to say, so nobody can put a drink on there or anything like that.
All right, good, that's good. So it is solid.
Oh, it is solid, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. Thank you.
Kathy?
What is the drop off off that, God forbid anybody get up on that railing, but what is the drop in the back part of that?
On the back part,
Yeah, it seems like more of a drop there than,
about 15 feet.
either way, if they go down, it's going to hurt, but,
I don't suggest it.
yeah, no, I hope that, that's, obviously, that's, our main concern. We don't want anybody,
Yeah.
taking- So it's all going to be table food, there's not going to be a bar, people can just sit up there at a bar area and drink.
There's going to be an area in the middle where people can sit in the very middle, and then around the whole perimeter is going to be tables. But we will have stools, 8 stools in the middle, around a little place to eat.
We submitted a floor plan.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it shows a number of tables, and then in the middle, it's labeled a service bar, but there are 8 seats around there where you could eat and get a drink.
Again, this is just because we want to make sure that they have food and just not sitting up there and drinking, because therein
Correct.
lies.
The whole idea behind that was for, single people that want to go up there.
Yeah, no, I can
They don't take
understand
up the
that.
whole table,
Yeah.
so.
I'm in
we just-
sales and I'm on the road and
Oh,
I'm by
okay.
myself a lot. I understand,
Oh, all
that,
right.
you don't want to take up a booth. But again, it's just the concern that this happened before when we were dealing with another restaurant in the Matunic, well, in that general area down there, about, there was just a rail, and we were really adamant about food service being provided, so it wasn't just a stop-off from the beach to be drinking and then getting in the car and driving, and then in your same situation, this would be, it's just what I think of in the past of how we've operated as a council, that you can't just have them stand, drinking, especially, I don't want anybody to
Right.
be drinking and then thinking,
Yeah, no, we're going to have dining. It's going to be
make
dining.
sure that they're having food, that's what I want to just
Yep.
maintain, okay.
Ken, what's going to be on the second floor at Phil's, in the building part? Is that just going to be a dining room?
Yes.
And what about the first floor? Is that going to change at all?
Nope. It'll still be, the whole point is not to change that, actually. We want to keep that the same.
So the second floor is going to, you're going to go up those same stairs? I mean, obviously, you're going to do
Yep.
something with them.
Yeah, on the side there, you go up
Yeah.
the stairs, you can go right, go inside, and you can eat inside, have dinner there, or you can walk across the little bridge to the outside deck and sit
And will you have
outside.
a bar in the upstairs restaurant?
Service bar.
Only on the outside? What about the inside?
No, on the inside, we do have a little service bar.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Anyone else up here? No? And this is a public hearing. If there's any other comments from the public, anything you guys, anything else you three
we
would
can-
like to say?
We can answer any questions that the public or the council members have.
Okay. So if there's at this time, if there's anybody from the public that would like to be heard? Well, seeing none, do I have a motion? Polly?
We close the public hearing?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 and 1 recused. So now that brings us to public hearing B, a public informational hearing for public discussion relative to the need for additional liquor licenses within the community. Would anybody like to be heard on this? Steve, you look like you might want to say something?
No.
No? Okay.
No, this public hearing is a requirement of the council's rules of, and governance for liquor licenses. Each time the council entertains any request to expand the number of licenses or reduce the number of licenses, a public hearing is required by the rules. So at this public hearing, if there are people from general public that want to express their position relative to the amount of alcoholic beverage licenses available or concerns that they have associated with it, now would be the time for them to speak up.
So at this time, I'm opening this to the public. If anybody would like to speak on whether or not to expand the liquor licenses in the town, please come forward. Seeing none, do I have a motion to close?
Motion to close?
Yeah.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. So motion carries 4-0 with one recusal. That brings us to new business item 13A, which is a resolution affirming or amending the town's liquor license rules and regulations, Section 1. The number of licenses for each class shall be authorized as indicated below. The two that we're concerned with is the Class B victualler, which is at 24 currently, and the Class B limited, which is currently at 5. So, do I have a motion? Or, Polly?
I move that we up the Class B victualling license to 25, and that we drop down the limited B liquor license to 4 from 5.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one recusal. So now we go back to public hearing 7A. And do I have a motion at the table? No?
Oh, God.
We have to go back to public hearing A regarding their application for expansion. If anybody wants to give me a motion on that?
Yes.
Go ahead, Polly.
I move we approve the application for expanding from Class B Limited to a Class B victualling for Phil's Kitchen.
And I'll second that.
Second, yeah.
Can we just be sure that we add to the motion that what you're doing is you're adopting specifically all of the conditions that have been recommended and imposed by the zoning board in connection with this application?
So noted. Is that your motion, Polly? Okay.
That certainly is, yes.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one recusal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you,
So
Carol.
with that, I hand the gavel back to Ella.
Thank you. Sure you don't want to keep
I
it?
didn't get to bang it.
Next time.
Brings us to communications. This is 8A. This is a communication received March 26, 2012, from Joe Veely, informing the council that he does not wish to be considered for reappointment to the Economic Development Committee. Is received, placed on file, and the town council further directs.
I think we should thank Joe for his service. He's been on the Economic Development Committee for many years, and he's done a lot of good work there. So I would ask if Dale could send a letter of thank you from the council.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. I also would like to echo Carol's thoughts. Joe has definitely given us lots of insight and valuable information.
And,
So-
Ella, if I may, I think we should take his words to heart here. I think the Council and Planning Board, Economic Development Committee, maybe need to spend a little bit more time looking at each other's work and making sure we're all on the same page.
Thank you, Jim. Yep. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? Any further comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries 5-0-0. Next one is Communication D. This is a resolution adopted March 19th, 2012 by the Narragansett Town Council in opposition to Governor Chavy's budget proposals for a 2% increase in the meals and beverage tax and the expansion of the lodging tax are received, placed on file, and the Town Council further directs.
I move that we endorse this resolution and impose the 2% tax increase on meals and beverages.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Okay, and it includes expansion of the lodging tax
right.
received, so I believe.
Okay, that's my motion, sorry. 2% increase in the, we oppose the 2% increase in the meals and beverage tax and expansion of the lodging tax.
Okay, motion and second.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've been to some committee meetings up here. This is just vehemently opposed throughout the tourism industry. I've just never seen such 100% arguments against this. We have the one growth industry in the state of Rhode Island, and this would be a terrible blow to it, so I certainly endorse the motion and the second.
Thank you. Carol?
I agree with you, Jim. I think it would be very burdensome on the tourism industry here in South Kingstown, and obviously on the meals, beverages, all businesses that, and the hotels. So we need to be vigilant about this. And I don't know anybody who supports it, honestly,
Found no one.
other than the governor.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Which brings us to Communication J. This is a communication dated April 3rd, 2012, from Susan Bernstein, Liaison to the Governor for Municipal Affairs and Policy, requesting support for the Governor Chaffee's municipal reform and relief legislative package to assist cities and towns is received, placed on file, and the Town Council further directs. Polly?
We discussed this in the work session, and we all decided that this is something we would like to support. It doesn't actually affect us very much, but it does increase the good running of a municipal, it's a good municipal reform for our towns. So we decided, I believe, that we would be in favor of this.
Any further comments? Jim?
I certainly agree with Polly on this. We do things right down here in South Kingstown, no question about it. The problem is, for all the good work that we do, we have some highly distressed communities in the state of Rhode Island that frankly, if their governments are not allowed to work, hopefully the legislature will pass the governor's package, but if those city and towns government bodies are unable to stop the problems that they're currently facing, eventually it'll affect the South Kingstown Council and our South Kingstown property taxpayers. So this is important to give these municipal governments better tools to manage themselves.
Carol?
We discussed this at the work session, and the highly distressed communities that were discussed and that have been determined to be highly distressed communities are Providence, Woonsocket, West Warwick, and Pawtucket. And these communities, most of this legislation would not affect South Kingstown. Much of it is geared towards locally administered pension systems, which the town of South Kingstown is not involved in. We are in the state system. So I think this is an attempt for these communities to avoid bankruptcy and receivership, and if it works, it's certainly would be a win to avoid that situation.
I'm not even sure that, I don't think that we have a motion yet.
Polly made
Thought
it.
I made the
Polly made a motion.
Who was the
I
person
think
that
Jim
seconded?
seconded.
Jim seconded, okay. Further
It's
discussion?
seconded away, I seconded, yes, I'm sorry. Should have
Is there
said
further discussion here at the table?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that this really doesn't reflect on that, sorry, it doesn't really reflect on the town of South Kingstown, and, because my concern was that, it would look poorly on the different, the EMS and the police and who, and the NEASK that we do any negotiations with. I think this is kind of to help out the other communities that are in tough shape, and I hope that we never, ever get to this level that, some of these things would have to be put into play. So I have some reservations on that and how we look, but some of the things I can certainly reflect, and nothing that's ever happened to the town of South Kingstown, so that's what I'd like to reiterate, that this is really to give to the other communities some aid, and hopefully, I think we should add that they should look at the town of South Kingstown and how they negotiate their contracts and just how they carry themselves and every different, how we do our pensions, our OPEB, because I feel like even if we do this for other communities, that, they'll still have them, they'll still be back in the same hole that they're in, and you know, I think that they should learn from the other communities that are doing well. And I think that everybody, they just don't want to look at what's going right. And it's frustrating to have to be dragged into something like this, and you're actually trying to put out a fire in other communities when it's not really here in our town. So, anyways.
With that said, Kathy, I'm just going to piggyback on the award that Alan Lord received on Thursday from the Providence Business Awards as one of the outstanding, financial people for the town. So we are in good shape, and we do things right here, and hopefully some of the other towns will follow suit. So, we ready to vote? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Communication K is a communication dated March 21st, 2012, from Frank DiGregorio, requesting support for joint Senate and House resolutions, Senate 2639 and House 7603, that would provide for a state referendum question to be presented to the voters at the November election, proposing an amendment to the state constitution to include the General Assembly under the jurisdiction of the Rhode Island Ethics Commission, is received, placed on file, and the town council further directs.
We discussed this at the work session, and we discussed supporting this communication. So I move that we do support it.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Communication L, a communication dated March 28th, 2012, from Maria H. Mack, Chairwoman, conveying the Planning Board's recommendation that the Town Council adopt a resolution in opposition to House Bill 2012, House 78066, and the companion Senate Bill 2012, Senate 2616. That propose amendments to Sections 45-23-32 and 45-23-44 of Rhode Island General Law, Title 45, Chapter 23, entitled Subdivision of Land, is received, placed on file, and the Town Council further directs.
We also discussed this at the work session, and we just thought that it would be important to also oppose these two bills.
Absolutely. I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Jim?
Yeah, the opposition by our planning board to this was really overwhelming, vehemently opposed to this. Imagine changing 300 years of planning and zoning. Probably wouldn't need our planning and zoning board anymore. Imagine with Providence, Pawtucket having the same land use regulations, same zoning. I mean, this is crazy, absolutely crazy. So I'm really pleased to join the opposition to the House and the Senate, a companion Senate bill here.
Carol?
I'd like to say I would like to support our planning board, and I just want to reflect on what they wrote in their letter, that the planning board does not believe that the concept of one-size-fits-all is a correct approach to local land use regulation. And I do agree with them on that. I think that's perfectly stated. So yes, I would support their decision and to oppose this legislation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Which brings us to comments from interested citizens. If anybody would like to speak, please come to the podium and state your name. With no one being acknowledged here to speak, I would like to, Bike Day, is this going to be happening on April 14th? I don't know if you want to speak a little bit about that, Vin, so that the public will be aware. I know I had it in my calendar.
This coming Saturday, April 14th, at the South County YMCA from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's sponsored by the Y in cooperation with the town, as well as the police, the town record department, the police department. Narragansett Bikes is lending a hand, as is Stedman's, and Kingston Pizza. and it's going to be indoors if raining. Hopefully it won't. I know we need some rain, but not on Saturday. And there's going to be bike safety classes, bike decorations, face painting for kids, an optical course for small kids 3 to 6, junior rides, basic bicycle tune-ups, helmet fittings, a bicycle recycle, which I understand they've got quite a few bikes donated from the community, which the local bike shops are going to, make sure are serviceable and safe, and people can come away with a new, good, used bike for their use. And there's a Munchkin ride and pizza and family ride to the Guild area, and also a cycle cross that'll be taking place that day. So it's an outgrowth of the Healthy Places by Design grant process, and it's pretty exciting. Be a nice community event, good cooperation and collaboration between the Y and the town, which has been, throughout this process, and we're looking forward to a great day.
Thanks for, Kathy.
I noticed you mentioned pizza twice, Vin.
Oh.
Are you looking
Well-
forward to that part of it?
Yeah, I don't want to, if you do exercise, you get to carb up so you don't faint away, But, yeah, I'm looking forward to riding over there. My wife and I are going to stop by on a Saturday, and, so it'll be good.
And have some pizza.
Have some pizza, yeah.
Vin, where do you take the bikes to be recycled?
We would take them to the Y, and there's a bike rack outside on the left of the front door, and the folks at the counters inside have tags to put on. I think that they were hoping to get all the bikes donated already, but I don't imagine they turned down a good donation. But I think there were well over 20 bikes last week on Friday, and I think in fact, I had a couple of old ones I brought over, and there was several in the rack, and they were storing them, so they're going to, take care of that. I think that's a really cool aspect of it, so
Yeah.
to kind of get, promote use of the bike path and healthier, and just, the fun of riding a bike, so.
It should be an exciting day, and hopefully
Yeah.
will be a yearly event.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, but you've got to start. So this is the first annual, is what they're calling it, so that implies continuity, so.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks, Vin. Does anyone know the date for the South County Hospital Walk? I know that's coming up. No, I thought I had it in my calendar. And the other announcement that I would like to make is, again, I stated it before the meeting started, the budget hearing that was scheduled for Tuesday, tomorrow night, has been rescheduled to Thursday due to a Coastal Resources Management Council public hearing. So I know that I heard out in the community a couple people that thought that the budget work session is going to happen here tomorrow in the town chambers, so it's been moved to Thursday. Can I move on? Is that it for comments from interested citizens? I'll move on to the town manager's report.
Just to continue along with the CRMC public hearings have been scheduled for tomorrow night on April 10th, and that will deal with the town's 2 applications that are pending before the Coastal Resource Management Council. The first would be the installation of a 202-foot long steel sheet pile wall. The second would be the reclassification of approximately 1,400 linear feet of beachfront in Matunic from its current designation as bluffs and to a man-made beach. Both of those are scheduled for tomorrow night. It appears that a number of witnesses have signed up for both of the petitions, and at this point, Coastal has advised that should the meeting run late, that they anticipate the meeting will be continued to April 24th at 6 p.m. So I'd ask council to also place in their books the April 24th as a tentative hold for continuation on CRMC matters if necessary. Second item tonight is I wanted to advise council that Stony Fort Road will be closed to two-way traffic during the week of April 16th through April 20th. That's so that the town can replace a culvert about 700 feet to the east of Slocum Road. Traffic will still be able to get to both sides of that construction activity, but the two-way traffic will be denied during that time while we're replacing that drainage pipe. Third item I wanted to mention is also referenced with the public hearings that are scheduled for the budget. Those will be for this week. They will be on Wednesday night, starting at 7 o'clock, and on Thursday night, starting at 7 o'clock. The hearings are identical. They will consider review of all the municipal budgets, inclusive of utilities, special districts, as well as the general fund and school fund. Also pleased to announce that late last week, the town was the recipient of a DEM Recreation Acquisition and Development Grant. This grant was authorized by the council to be submitted last November. It will provide up to $53,000 that will be used for the installation of the 6 dugout roof structures on the 3 ball fields at Broad Rock. It'll also be used for the construction of a retaining wall and the railing system to the softball field at Broad Rock, and the installation of the staircase leading to the from the parking lot to the dog park, plus the installation of a water line for a drinking fountain at the dog park.
All right.
All of these items were included in the capital budget over the last 3 years. We're anticipating that on a 50-50 basis, that'll be $53,000 coming through the state program and $53,000 coming through municipal programs. We've budgeted $46,000 that's available within those reserve funds, and plus we have a $6,500 grant that'll be coming from the Rhode Island Foundation that will assist for the dog park improvements. So it's good news. We'll be getting some needed improvements that have been part of the capital improvement program at a substantially discounted rate, and allow us to be able to accelerate those projects forward. Most of the work will be done in the fall season. However, we are going to try to get the water line to the dog park and the stairs underway as quickly as possible. One of the problems with the water line there is that we still have to deal with easement issues with National Grid. But it is good news, and it's not a make-work project. These are projects that have gone through capital process and have been approved for town funding over the past 3 years. So kudos to Terry and her crew for being able to push through the application process and to be successful in obtaining the state assistance. With that, I would answer any questions council has on the 2 reports I've filed since the last council meeting, or yield the floor to the solicitor, whichever you like.
Any questions here for Steve? Jim?
Steve, you mentioned National Grid. And I asked you about a month ago with the wind farms, but I noticed the Narragansett Town Council voted unanimously to oppose the plans they had coming into Narragansett Town Beach and the other potential shore area, or at least coming ashore there. Where does that put us in this equation, or is there something new that you may know?
I think that where we fit in the equation is they are not on municipal property other than within right-of-way. In Narragansett's situation, the question was whether they were going to be allowed an ascent to come through the town's park or the town's beach. So the difference is that they will be within the town's right-of-way on Narragansett Avenue East, will be on the state right-of-way crossing Route 1 and staying within the state right-of-way on Old Tower Hill till it gets to a private road. So there really isn't a lot that we would have involvement with as far as that construction is concerned. Based on the way the town's right-of-way ordinance is constructed, the permitting process would go through the Public Services Department. John would be dealing with it. Our objectives would be to ensure that as far as the any type of work within the right-of-way was completed properly, and that proper access was gained. because they've got to do archaeological work before they can do the construction work itself.
Were there other options looked at, like coming in through South Kingstown up Green Hill Beach Road? Were there other options to come in from that wind farm?
No, the only option that we've seen is them coming in through Narragansett. And if they do come in through Narragansett, the path of least resistance would be Narragansett Avenue East for that.
Okay.
I think that is the critical path that they were trying to follow. The question will be whether or not they can work out a amenable agreement with Narragansett as to where the landing would occur.
Thank you.
Further questions for Steve? If not, I'm going to move on to the town solicitor's report.
Unless there are questions, I have nothing this evening.
Any questions for Mike? I'm going to move on to appointments, and we don't have any appointments at this time, which brings us to new business 13B. This is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Atlas Pyrovision Productions, P.O. Box 498, Jaffrey, New Hampshire, for the 2012 4th of July fireworks display in accordance with all bidding specifications in an amount not to exceed $17,900, and as further described in a memorandum from the Director of Leisure Services to the Town Manager dated March 24th, 2012, and entitled Recommendation for Bid Award 4th of July Fireworks Display.
Just in terms of comment, we talk about this being a bidding process. It's not a cost bidding process, it's really the materials bidding process. Essentially what we do is we request companies to tell us, pardon the pun, how much bang for the buck we can get. We tell them that there's $17,900 available. They then are required to tell us what size shells and how many of each shells they would be able to put forward. This year, the process has even been a little bit more simple. Atlas has been the provider of record for many years. This year, they were the sole bidder on the program, and the number of shells is reflective of what they have bid in prior years. So the recommendation is to award to the lowest qualified bidder or only bidder, Atlas Pyrovision Productions. The cost for both the 4th and the 5th as a rain date are identical. There's no surcharge.
Thank you, Steve. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve new business item B.
Second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. New business 13C is a resolution adopting the town beach policy for the 2012 season as shown on Exhibit 1 attached here too, and amending the town's schedule of fees as further described in a memorandum from the Director of Leisure Services to the town manager dated April 2nd, 2012, and entitled 2012 Town Beach Policy and Fee Schedule. Steve?
The revisions that are proposed, there's really three within the fee structure. The daily parking fee for non-residents would increase from $15 to $20. The daily parking for buses and recreation vehicles would go from $40 to $50, a $10 increase. The cottage passes would go from $150 to $160. We're showing an increase on the storage unit rentals, but there really isn't an increase. Last year, we charged $115 because they were prorated because they weren't available at the beginning of the season. The only other change to the policies is that the Recreation Commission will be instituting a no smoking policy to be added to the general rules of the beach for the entire beach property. This is done, we have had some difficulties with the conflict between beach users, and we've also had the difficulty as far as the litter left behind by the smokers. And we've also seen difficulty with the birds that are scavenging on that beach that are making use of those butts.
Questions here for Steve? Polly?
I move approval of new business item C.
Second.
We have motion and a second. I just have a question before we take the vote. Did we receive any beach sand from the dredging of the breachway in Charlestown?
No, the only way we would see materials is if the materials were to be dislodged off of the Charleston beach where they were placed, and that they were to come into our beach area. We did not purchase any sand and transport it to the town beach. We are working with CRMC at this point, and we're looking at excavating the kettle pond that's on the beach proper, and attempting to pull out a great deal of the sand that has taken over that pond, and then being able to use that to spread. The beach is in relatively good condition. We did obtain a maintenance permit and install burritos around both the pavilion as well as the area closest to where the volleyball nets are. And those were put in by town staff and have been effective in terms of preventing erosion around the pavilion, as well as to abate some of the erosion that was occurring near the picnic area. So if we do bring some of that sand out, we will be able to top dress the beach, but we are in much better shape than we have been over some of the past years.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. New business, item 13D, is a resolution authorizing award of bid to Central Dodge Incorporated, 191 New State Highway, Raynham, Massachusetts, for one 2012 Dodge Charger V8 police package vehicle in an amount not to exceed $21,458, including trade-in allowance and equipment transfer installation, and is further described in a memorandum from the police chief to the town manager dated April 2nd, 2012, and entitled Bid Recommendation Police Vehicles.
The recommendation is to go with the lowest qualified bidder, that's Central Dodge, as presented within the agenda proposal.
Can I have a motion, please?
I move approval of new business item D.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. New business, item E. This is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Paul Massey Chevrolet South, 399 Main Street, Wakefield, Rhode Island, for one 2012 Chevrolet Tahoe V8 police package SUV in an amount not to exceed $36,999, including trade-in allowance and equipment transfer installation, and is further described in a memorandum from the police chief to the town manager dated April 2nd, 2012, and entitled Bid Recommendation Police Vehicles.
Recommendations to award to the lowest qualified bidder. Two bids were submitted, one from Liberty Chevrolet and one from Paul Massey in Wakefield. Recommendation is to go with Paul Massey at the $36,999.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
I move approval of new business item E.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. And new business item G is a resolution authorizing an award of contract to Electrical Installations Incorporated, 397 Whittier Highway, Moulton Borough, New Hampshire, to furnish and install an iFix software upgrade to the SCADA system and associated labor. Test the system in an amount not to exceed $27,268, including a $2,000 contingency, and is further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated March 27th, 2012, and entitled Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility SCADA Systems Upgrade.
We have received a proposal from this company to be able to provide the work. We have a long-term relationship with them. I've reviewed with the director and assigned a preferred exclusive bid requirement here, since they own the proprietary information necessary for the computer systems and the software. We will be buying the hardware separately through a state contract, since the hardware costs were, it was more efficient for us to buy through the state contract than through the vendor itself. We are quite satisfied with the software system that's been used and the upgrades that will be incorporated. This money has been budgeted within the 11-12 year budget for the wastewater treatment facility. I'd be glad to answer any questions council would have on this one.
Thank you. Do I have a motion, please?
I move approval of new business item G.
Second?
Motion is second. Any questions for Steve? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. New business item I, a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Monroe Electric, 1550 Elmwood Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island, for the purchase and delivery of 7 lamp posts with luminaries in accordance with all bid specifications to an amount not to exceed $16,184, and is further described in a memorandum from the Director of Leisure Services to the Town Manager dated April 2nd, 2012, and entitled Bid Recommendation Village Green Lighting Materials.
As noted in Terry's memo, we're recommending that the award for this purchase of materials go with the lowest qualified bidder at the $16,184. What I've also asked Terry to do in the memorandum is to advise the council of the other components that are going to be necessary to complete the work. One is the installation of the electric panel, as well as the actual controls that are necessary to actually provide National Grid power to the units once the in-house forces were to install the poles. The overall cost that's expected is that we'll be spending the $16,184 that's on your agenda tonight, but we'll also be looking at spending about $7,500 for the main electrical box and the pedestal installations before we can put the lights up on that, and then the cost of the electrical vendor that would actually tie the light poles in. Overall, this would complete the entire Village Green rehab project. Overall cost of that project will be about $265,000. At this point, we had budgeted about $258,000. So there's about $6,400 in excess cost that we will be using funds available within the Recreation Improvement Fund to be able to accommodate that, but to complete the project in total.
Thank you. Questions for Steve? Do I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve new business item I.
Second?
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. We also have a closed executive session. So can I have a motion? We have a closed executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A2 to discuss matters pertaining to collective bargaining or litigation.
I move that we go into closed executive session.
Second.
We have motion and second, and can we have an individual roll call?
Council President Whaley.
Yes.
Council Vice President McAtee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eddy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Fogarty.
Aye.
Councilman O'Neill.
Aye.
Unanimous affirmative vote to adjourn to closed executive session at 8:35.
Thank you.